Hi, I'm Logan.
And I'm Shreyas. Our project is the Eutrophication buoy, also known as the Eutrotracker. We did have another teammate, Tate. Unfortunately, he's not here today because he unfortunately just caught a cold this weekend, but we'll be continuing on as usual.
So the problem we're dealing with is eutrophication. Basically, Maryland water supplies are important for biodiversity in the ecosystem, and they're often located next to farms. These farms have a lot of fertilizers, and they often get caught in runoff. That runoff goes into the waterways and creates a lot of excess nutrients. Excess nutrients feeds a lot of algae, and they grow disproportionately. So the problem with that is that they use up a bunch of oxygen in the water, and that means that all of the life in the water mostly dies.
To fix this, early warning is the main solution because there are treatments to this, either by cutting off the sources of the runoff or by skimming the algae off the water. So we want to develop a product that could provide this key early warning to key influencers and stakeholders.
So we decided to use a buoy. Basically, we have a floating device that senses the nutrients in the water, and then it can provide an early warning to potential eutrophication in the future.
So here's a drawing model of our project. So it consists of a buoy frame, which is made out of a buoyant foam, and on the top there's going to be a microcontroller in the form of a Raspberry Pi and a transmitter, which is going to send information to a receiver, which will be hosted out of wherever the client is going to be operating out of. Additionally, there's going to be a water sensor, which is going to be facing into the water and measuring the nutrient contents of it. And this is all going to be connected to the bottom of the body of water via a rope and a mushroom anchor. So I would have been showing you it in person, but here are photos of our physical model. So our main structure, as I said, is composed of foam. And on the top would be having a transmitter, which is in the form of this plastic piece over here. And on the bottom, it would connect to a rope. In this case, it has a circular ring weight, but in our actual one, we'd aim to have a mushroom anchor. Okay. So here's a lean canvas model, and this is kind of how we assess the business viability of our project. And we're going over some of this key stuff on this in later slides, starting with our consumer. So we'd be mostly focusing on three different main consumer groups. One would be local governments and NGOs, which would be having sustainability initiatives to monitor public bodies of water to inform public policy decisions. And this would be either with a one-time purchase, or if they want to use it for a short amount of time, they could rent it out. For private entities that want to improve the aesthetics and healthiness of bodies of water that they have access rights to, this would be a one-time purchase so they can use it for as long as they want to. And for research groups interested in only using it for a short or long-term amount of time, we could just rent it out to them.
So the materials we're using is some foam, some sealant for that foam so that it doesn't get damaged too much, a rope, a mushroom anchor, and a sensor. That sensor would be attached to a Raspberry Pi microcontroller that would then send data to a receiver on site of whoever is using it. We're also using a bunch of jumper wires to connect the electronics.
So for the actual production, we'd need to put an initial investment into a workspace, which we could produce and ship out the product from. From then on, we could hire some part-time employees, which could work on weekends, along with maybe some high school interns in order to give them some valuable experience as well. Additionally, we estimate that with a small team working on it, each product would take about 3 hours each to produce, with an estimated $30 cost of labor per buoy.
So the expected cost is just the cost of the material added onto the cost of the labor times a 1.1 markup to get a 10% profit margin for $128 and about 71 cents with a net profit of $11.7. We're also having a renting price of $10.67 per day, so that after 6 months, if you were renting it for all of that time, it would cost just about the same as all of the as just buying it.
So do you recognize that historically some groups have not gotten access to sustainable technology or have been the target of sustainability initiatives? So to try to ease this in a slight way, we decided that if this were to be deployed in counties with a median income of below 50K, which is on the lower end of per capita incomes in the United States, it'd be sold at a lower profit margin in order to provide some accessibility that they might not have gotten otherwise.
So with this impacts, um, so what this impacts is it makes the detection of eutrophication a lot more easy and affordable, and it means that you can detect it before it happens.
Here are sources, and thank you for listening. Does anyone have any questions?